Now this is a fishing pole, as my good friend Brian Wall says. So now he plays g4, just kicking my strongly placed f5 bishop. And now I completely ruin his queenside structure and his light squares around his king with bishop takes c2. And even though I'm giving up pieces for the rook here, I'm going to have so much space and so much attacking chances on the queen side, it's going to be totally worth it. So it's important to note here that he played knight d1, so his queen is defending b4. That way I don't win a pawn as well as the rook for the two pieces, in which case the material would be even. And I still have a strong attack, so I'd definitely be winning in that position. So he plays knight takes d1, and now I can't play a b4 because after queen takes b4, his queen is very strongly posted on b4, and it also like completely stops my attack, and he's going to get counterplay with h5. So I'm trying to look for a way. During the game I was trying to look for a way to prevent his queen from taking on b4 after I play a takes b4, and step one is obviously just to play knight e4, which would kick his queen. Now after queen e1, I still could play a takes b4, and after queen takes, though I still have the makings of a strong attack, I don't think it'll work because the queen is just too strong on b4, and it's a very active defensive piece. So I have to come up with a new way to attack and a different way to attack, keeping in mind b takes or a takes b4. So first I kick his knight on e5. Now after f6, his knight, which is strongly posted on e5, is going to have to either retreat or sacrifice itself on c4 or something. And after knight f3, which is what he played, his knight went from an active post on e5 to going to a defensive trading position on d2. So f6 I think was a very, very good move on my part. And now I played a very inaccurate move here. I played queen b6, and this move allows him to shut down the a file and keep it closed with b5. And now, even though he gives up this pawn, my attack is really stifled because without the a file being open like this, my attack is kind of silly because without a rook, all I have to attack him with is a queen after knight d2, and the knights are traded. So really I need to just admit that he's going to have to play queen takes b4 and just open the b file here with open the a file here with a takes b4. So, and then I'll definitely still have a strong attack, and it's still a little more difficult than if I could have just played a takes b4 and he couldn't recapture with the queen. So let's go back. So after knight f3 and queen b6, he missed his chance to play b5 and instead played knight d2, which is actually a blunder in itself. So knight d2 is bad because of the simple continuation, knight takes d2, and if queen takes d2, the a file is just going to kill him. So, and after king takes d2, I just play e5, and now the center is going to open up and his king is going to be looking for a way to get out of dodge. So let's go back. I actually missed knight takes d2 and just played the natural a takes b4, because even though he's trading off my strong attacking piece on e4 for his knight on d2, I figured the open a file and the coming rook a1 check is going to be strong enough to replace the knight on e4. So he traded naturally, and I checked him. And now after king c2, a couple moves kind of jump out at you. B3 check looks very strong. Also queen a5 looks very strong because I'm threatening b3 checkmate. But there's a couple of things wrong with both of those moves. B3 check is a good move here. But after king d2, I can't check him yet because he can just play knight e to c3. And then if I try to take this knight first, my c4 pawn will hang. So, okay, let's go back. And if I play queen a5, he has the stunning defense knight e to c3. And after b3, it'll just transpose to king d2. And if I take here, he can play queen takes, and now I no longer have this pin going, and my attack is stifled once again. So let's go back. So I was looking for another way to continue, and I noticed his king is kind of drifting towards the center, and the best way to attack in the center is just to open lines in the center. So I played e5. And it's not really sacrificing a piece, which would be my knight that was on e4, because I'm attacking two pieces at once, so he can only save one at a time. Which is something to keep in mind when he captures a piece of yours. You don't necessarily have to take it back right away because you can always attack something else, and he can't save both pieces at once. So here he plays g3, bishop g3, and after e takes d4, he's actually losing really badly here because he doesn't have, I don't think he has any defense at all here, because b3 check is coming, d3 check is coming, and all my pieces are just going to be swarming around his king. So so there's a saying, I think Kasparov used to say a pawn near a king is worth a piece. So 3 pawns near a king must be worth a queen or something, because he's just going to get checkmated. So I wanted to look at some variations of his that he could play, and it kind of has some good patterns involved with it. Let's say he plays bishop d6. I can play d3 check, bishop d3, cd3, and after king b3, queen c6 threatens mate in 1 with queen c4, and if he guards it with knight c5, I play rook c8, and then after queen takes b4, I can just take his bishop, and now I'm up an exchange and a pawn. So and I still have a strong attack going. So let's go back. Maybe he can defend with king d2, but after c3 check, king d3, d takes e4, king takes e4, queen c6 check, king d3, queen b5, king e4, f5, king f3, queen d5, king f4, f takes g4, and that's a mate there. So I'm not sure if those are all forced, but they all seem like pretty good moves. But okay, let's go back. And the line that he played was e takes d4, which is just like a mate in 3. b3 check, king d2, queen d4 check, bishop d3, and queen takes d3 mate. He actually resigned one move earlier. Yeah, he resigned here after queen d4 check. So I was very proud of this game because I had a strong attack going, and I found some really good moves like f6 and e5, and yeah, so still looking for comments and suggestions, but feel free just to watch it and try to learn something. So alright, this is Chris Peterson. See you guys next time.